Okay, so this is my underwriting tool. It's RVP Underwriter at rvpunderwriter.com. And what you do here is you basically just drop in the files, the OM, the T12, or whatever you have, rent roll, anything and everything that you have, you can just put in here and click analyze the deal. And what it's doing right now is going to read all the documents, and it's going to cross-check the documents too. It's going to cross-check the rent roll against the T12, and it's going to give me the seller numbers at first and see how they look. That's going to take about 10-15 seconds. And here we go. So these are the seller numbers on this particular deal. Everything looks like it checks out. It's got good cap rate, DSCR, cash on cash, everything passes, but it's saying it has caught two issues in these financials. So I'm going to say get the real numbers and underwrite this deal. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to take another 30, 45 seconds or so. It's finishing up. And there you go, it's done. So here's the deal snapshot. It tells you what the property is about. And then the location is talking a little bit about the location. Then it's going to tell you the judgment calls it's made. It normalized the NOI to 250. And the reason for that is there was no CapEx reserve. It added that in. The insurance says it's going to go up. The property tax is going to go up a little bit. There was no legal and accounting. And the merchant bank fees, not that much difference. It's scaled with the occupancy. So let's look at the offers. Okay, so now it's saying the maximum allowable offer with conventional bank financing would be just a little shy of what the seller is asking. However, if the seller carries, you can exceed your thresholds for cash on cash return and the DSCR target, both of them. If the seller just carries 35%, you have 10% down. And then this, of course, is the full ask. It's always going to pass because seller is being the bank here at 5% interest rate. So this would be helpful if the seller is asking too much. But in this case, it's pretty close to, the deal is pretty close to what it should be. So the verdict is saying go with offer two because there are some indications of a seller carry. So it's going to say go with offer two. Now we can adjust the offer here. We can say, well, let's try occupancy 70%. You could do that if you wanted to and rerun the offer. Here are the top risks that it flagged. And here are the red flags. And now it's calculating the stress tests, saying at what interest rate you start losing money. So if you have your break even is at 12.5% and your break even occupancy is 73%. So occupancy drops below 73%, you'll start losing money. And here's the explanation of why it says the property tax will go up. It's saying Texas is a non-disclosure state, so the likelihood of it going up too much, it's not that high. But it's saying the insurance risk premium going up, that's definitely likely. Now it's saying all the ways you can add value. It's like this is the landlord paying utilities, so bill back 50% of water and septic costs to tenants, and you could gain about 200,000 in value. If you increase the rates, it's below market right now. You can get another 55,000 NOI, and it just calculates what the potential could be. And now we're down to the report section. You can generate a one-pager PDF. You can save this deal so you can come back to it later. And you can also generate a full underwriting report. If you have the deal maker suite, you can have a deal memo for the lender, the investor deck, the Excel model, and the negotiation playbook. And I'm going to generate all these and show you what they say. Okay, so here are the reports. The first report you want to look at is the one-pager. You can give this one-pager to your friend, your partner, or any other investor. And then for the deal maker tier, it also generates a full underwriting report. So it's more than one page. So it basically gives you the entire summary of the whole underwriting that it did for you. And then we also have the LOI it generated. The LOI is based on the offer, the recommended offer two with the seller carry. And it fills everything in. It's a one-page LOI that you can hand off to the agent or the seller. And then we have the deal memo for a lender. You can hand this to a lender and it gives you a summary of what the offer is, the financing request, the property overview, the summary, the business plan, the market overview, the location demand drivers, and whatever the lender needs. If there's any risks, you can talk about, it talks about also what you can do to mitigate that risk. And finally, you have the negotiation playbook. It reads the deal as if, you're negotiating with the seller, and it tells you what your leverage is, and it quantifies that leverage. And then also gives you an offer sequence. It says, okay, open with offer 2, and if they want to shorten the balloon, you can say, yeah, 5 years instead of 7. You can increase the down payment slightly towards 15%. So it talks about all that, and also talks about how you sell the seller carry to the seller. And if the deal stalls, it gives you some other creative structures that you can try, like earn out. And also some of the objection handling. So if seller says, blah, 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 my OM is 310, you say, you talk to the seller and negotiate with the seller politely as a trusted advisor, and that's what it does. And now let's take a look at the Excel spreadsheet. So this is for someone who wants to adjust the financial details and take control of the offer completely and the underwriting completely. So you have the capability of doing that. Now it fills in everything on its own based on the data that was given. You never have to enter anything by hand. This is a huge, huge time saver. And one of the main reasons why I did this, it would take me hours to do this. And now it generates it perfectly based on my template. It generated the 5 metrics, NOI, cap rate, DSCR for the 3 offers, 1, 2, 3. And it also has the quick hacks, the 1% rule, the gross rent multiplier. You can change the purchase price, you can change the interest rates, and it makes an effect immediately. For example, if you change the offer price here, make it 2.5 million, and boom, your DSCR just changed, cash on cash return changed instantly. And you have all these levers, and all these orange rows they're the ones that it normalized. So it increased the property taxes for offer 1, 2, and 3. It added the legal, professional, and the capex reserves that was missing. And you can see the effect of the NOI that was 283 reported in the T12, and it normalized it down to 250. And then it shows you the debt service, the total debt stack, how much debt you're paying every year, and the annual profit that you make every year. Not only that, it has a value add that you can get by implementing the utilities. So your NOI, as you're normalizing, is dropping, and then after you purchase it, you can raise the NOI back by rate optimization, occupancy upside, and stabilizing the NOI. The assumptions for the financials, and based on those assumptions, the pro forma that it created. So how your annual NOI is increasing as you add the value. Year 5, you're refinancing. Your debt to value is going down, goes back up after the refi, and starts going back down again as your NOI goes up. And another tab on your returns. If you have investors, you can tell them this is the capital you need. This is the preferred investors got paid. This is the IRR they can expect. And the returns for the preferred investors versus the common equity of the GP sponsors. And that is the last report.